Trails! Trails. You've probably heard about these. You may have even wanted to try them out yourself. Well, you sure can. And I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to try and be brief. So, a lot of people use trails in animation to convey motion and motion blur. Here is the basic idea. You've got something that's moving, and you want it to look like it's moving fast, but moving it from just here, right, to here, that doesn't look very good, you know? It doesn't do the motion justice, per se. Because it'll look like it's just teleporting. And you know that it was here. There was a time when that sword did exist from point A to point B, but the audience might not know that because they didn't see it. They may have seen something get cut along here, but perhaps they may have thought that it just teleported and the thing just happened to explode. So you could make the decision to use a trail. Here's your sword. There it is, swinging fast. In fact, it's kind of swinging a little bit slow. There. Like, what's even happening? Well, imagine you're a camera and you're opening up your little shutter. You've got your camera parts, and then here's your window, here's your sensor, and then here's your shutter door. Right there. And that's what lets the light in. And it'll open, and then it'll close. And depending on how long it's open, it'll let in a certain amount of light. It'll sneak by. And then once it closes, no more light can get in. So, if it's open for a long time, like an entire 30th of a second, which would be 1/30, then you would see a lot of motion blur. You would see the whole motion of, you would see everything at 30 frames per second. There is nothing that your camera would miss. But say it was only open for 1/2800th of a second. That's like, then it might not let in all the motion, and you might start to see stuff like this, where stuff looks like it's jumping around. Well, a lot of people, when they animate, like to get rid of that and show what would have been there if there was a low shutter speed to the motion. And that's called a trail. And there are lots of ways to do them. You can hand animate them. There are action scripted tails. There's tweened tails. And those are probably the only ones. Most often, a trail only lasts for 1 frame. And, well, as in, this never happens. Like, the trail can go on for more than 1 frame, but the frame that it's on is only ever 1 frame long. So maybe the next one might look like that. And you start to get something like that. And then a lot of people like to add gradients to them. It's whatever you like. You might add something like this, and then that, and then get a result like that, where it tapers off as it goes further away from the sword. And then you might make the color of this side of the gradient the color of the sword, as if like part of the sword is getting left behind. And the reason you use it is just to show what you cannot show with the sword alone. A trail. Bam. They're helpful sometimes. They are good at getting certain messages across, but they can be overused, and they can be made to look very poor. So like if there was a melon here, and it's good up until the sword hits it, the trail would do it good here, because then at this frame you might make half come off, and then it's gone, and then the other half is left over here, and then watermelon blood splurts out, just like that. Trails. Right? But it can be bad because maybe you use it too much, and you start to put trails where trails might not even belong. I made this a few years ago, like 2000, maybe 12, maybe like the beginning of 2012. Check it out. Trails out the wazoo. But like, look at the end there. Arms go down. That's a trail. Why? Why? I mean, it could do without. It doesn't need to have motion blur just when he's moving his arms. And I loved it, and I thought it was great. But it was probably pretty unnecessary. Like, even right here, oh, well, that kind of might have needed it, maybe, because the leg is moving a lot. But, like, since this leg is so close to where it was, you know that this leg is not this leg. I hope. And, like, there. You know, the trails on this weren't that bad. But that one, that's a little unnecessary. I mean, it's all a style choice. You can do whatever you want, but don't overdo it with your trails, because then you turn into a guy who's moving his hands like 2 inches and making whooshing noises as he's doing really tiny karate chops. You're over dramatizing something that isn't even that motion-y, if you know what I'm saying. Like there, when he does the flip. Did you really need it there? Because you didn't have one here. And I mean, this is far, but it's not like this far. So do what looks good to you, but also show it to people and see what they think to get a better judge. Those are trails, and you'd use them because you want to show quick motion. Yeah, don't use action script trails. Pfft. Trails are only ever on screen for like 1 or 2 frames. You don't need to do an action script trail. Just draw them by hand. It's not even hard. It's not even hard. Just draw by hand, man. It'll look better in the end. It'll look more customized. You can tell every time when someone uses an action script trail. Don't even Google it. Don't even go looking, because they're horrible. They stink. They smell bad. That's all. Trails. Good luck with your trailing.